Welcome to the Be Strong Show. I am your host and Chief Heart Officer for Be Strong International, Michelle Shirley here. I'm so excited to be with you today. Listen, summertime is on. It's fun. I know there's camps. I know there's a lot of amazing things that are happening in your life, vacation time, rest time. But for many of us as nonprofits, we are thinking about how to prepare kids for back to school season. So we know while it's summer and we're having fun, by the time we blink our eye again, we will be back into full swing with the academic school year. So Be Strong, as you know, we host our Be Strong Back to School event. We are having our partnership this year with the Village of Palmetto Bay. Yay! So we're so excited for that. Our event is on August 2nd. It is a drive-through event. Please see our website for more details, bestrongintl.org. And if you want to sponsor, we would be so thankful for your support. Please visit our website and contact us. We would love to purchase additional supplies, book bags, as much as we can give out in this amazing time for students and their families. With that said, I've been smiling all morning and laughing all morning because my bestie is here, Yesenia Moreno. She is the managing partner for New Edge Associates. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, bestie. I'm glad to be here. Good morning, everyone.
This is so good. So we've been laughing and smiling and like cracking up the whole time. And I don't know if people know the history of like why we're besties.
I think you should share with them.
So I think you have to help me. So when I think about it, I remember getting an invite to Ely, the connector, right?
Yes. So our dear friend Ellie the Connector had a birthday and we went for lunch, and it just so happened that Michelle and I sat next to each other. And we were probably the only two people who looked at the menu and were like, oh, it's going to be tough. What are we going to do?
Yeah, no.
That's it. It was an instant connection. We were besties.
Yeah. That was it.
And we clicked, and then we started talking. And since then, it's been, love at first sight. New Edge Associates proudly supports Be Strong. I think what you do is amazing. I think, how you help the community and families, and, very proud of you and the continued impact you make in our community.
Thank you so much, friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm sure Ellie's watching us, and
shout out to you, Ellie.
Shout out. We love you. So I want to explore a little bit because I did go on your website and just look at all of the amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And you are also partnering with many banks to, for those roles that you're filling and whatnot. So tell me a little bit more about your work and what is it that people need to know when it comes to what you do?
Well, first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that today is our 5-year anniversary. Woo! So big shout out to New Edge Associates, to my amazing partner, Norman, our director of operations, Carlos, and the whole team. We're grateful. We're going 5 years strong. And so what New Edge Associates is we're an executive search firm, right? We partner with our community banks and we provide talent to them. And in a world that's ever changing, it's, to know your talent and to know your market and your industry is very tough. And, we've mastered that. We partner with them. We know our clients' cultures. We know the roles that they need. We assess, what the responsibilities are, meet with managers. And so we try our best to find them that right candidate.
Yeah. And I know that's tough right now. I think in my world, I'm not in the banking world, but I think ever since things happened post-COVID, it's just been a different labor market completely, even for us when it comes to hiring. So I'd love for you to share, what is it that you're seeing across the board when you look at talent and what's happening with...
So we see we definitely do see a shift after 2020. A lot of, candidates or employees became accustomed to being remote, and they felt that was the norm. And to this day, we still get those questions. And a lot of our banks, many banks are doing now like a 3-2 for certain departments, but anything that's client facing obviously has to be in person. We're just very honest with our talent, and we tell them, the minute that they tell us they want fully remote, we're like, we're sorry, we just can't help you because we don't have those roles. It is a tough market, as you know. It is challenging to attract the right individuals and get commitment from them. I mean, we depend on people, and you know how reliable that can be sometimes. But we certainly try our best to interview them, to talk to them, to do our references, and try to get them, aligned with what our clients are looking for. So we're always going to be transparent.
Yeah. And so what are banks also doing to increase how they attract good talent, right? Because I know things have changed. I know you mentioned the 3-2 for some departments, but what else is happening that you see banks are doing or across the board that you see that are like, man, this is going to help you attract the right talent? Because maybe there's things that we could all learn from what you see.
Training. They take the time to train their employees. I think it's very big on orientation. I have some clients that before you get hired, you interview with the CEO all the way down to the department head, and with your peers. This allows you to find out if you like the culture and if it's going to be a match for you. They invest in their talent. They invest in training them. They invest in learning, teaching them what the bank is about, how the bank works. And so that says a lot, because when you take care of your individuals from the beginning and you teach them of what they're going to be doing, it makes it easier, the transition to start a new career.
Yeah. And I think too, one of the things that come up for us is, of course, salaries and the paid time off and all of these other things. Are you aware of like banks changing the way that they do business as far as that?
They're pretty
piece?
standard. There are some banks who pay benefits 100%. Some banks who have an end of year bonus, regardless of what your title is. They entice them with, education reimbursement, 401k, short-term disability, long-term disability. Some people have pet insurance. Some people have a paternal leave. So, they're getting more creative and certainly, giving more to the employee, right?
Yeah.
Giving more back as a value and trying to keep them engaged.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. I see you everywhere online. Oh my goodness. She is the LinkedIn queen, you guys. I'm telling you, right? How do you keep up and manage with all that's going on?
So I have a strong leadership team. Behind the scenes, it's not just me. It takes a village, right? My business partner, Norman, is key to our company and our operations and everything running. And then our director of operations, he does the training, he works close with our team, and our team as well. It's not one New Edge Associates, it's all of us. But I've made it a point to continue being the face of the company and, being visible. People work with people they know. And if I need to be where my clients are, I need to be where our community is. We give a lot. Our team is also engaged. We give a lot back to our community. We have young professionals. We have a lot of people work for not-for-profits. And so we like to be out there and people know who New Edge Associates is. Again, we're not the big boys in town, we're going on 5 years, but people know us and it takes a lot of visibility and a lot of engagement for that to happen.
Yeah. And it's hard not to love you and your team. I just found out that Carlos purchased our Social Yak game. Thank you, Carlos.
So we went to a Be Strong lunch and we played Social Yaks and Carlos was like, completely in love with the game. So he purchased, one for the mother, one for the sister, two for the team. And we would go to lunches and at the restaurants, he would want to do team bonding and take the game. And I found it so great. So he should have been here today because he'd probably already know all the questions that are going to come out.
God, that's so sweet.
So shout out to you, Carlos.
I know. Thank you, Carlos. And that's one of our ways in which we fundraise and actually pour monies back into the services and the programs. So
please make sure you buy your Social Yaks. Reach out to me if you want to buy in bulk. This is a great Christmas stuffers for the baskets and whatnot. So let's support Be Strong, guys.
I love it. So tell me, what made you shift? You're saying 5 years. So obviously you did other things, right?
No, I've always done staffing. I worked for a firm for 10 years. And in 2020, the company decided that they didn't want to, keep afloat. The company was originally a logistics firm, which hired me 10 years prior to build a banking and finance division, which I did. And Norman, my partner, my husband, pretty much my rock was like, I've wanted you to do this forever. And I think that it's the time to take a leap of faith. And so, of course, I was the one that was hesitant and, scared. And my husband's always been the visionary. And he's like, you got to do it. You got to stop being scared. And I remember I met with like probably 6 of our clients and they know who they are. And every single one of them, bank CEO, president was like, it's about time. It's about time. And those are still our clients today. And, I've had clients for 20 years that I've taken to 2 firms that I worked at prior. But it's the loyalty, the commitment, we do everything with our heart. we love our clients and we love their best interests. So it's not a transactional relationship. It's really a relationship that we partner with them and we are entrenched in, what they do, what they look for. And, we may not always get it right, but we certainly try.
Yeah. I'm looking at you now and I'm just amazed when you say like you were scared.
Absolutely.
Like,
I'm not the
when
daredevil.
I see you now and people see you and it's just like scared of what? Look at you. Look at what you've been able to accomplish.
Thank
like,
you.
where did that come from? Like,
Norman,
why did you feel afraid?
Because I was always loyal. I was a very loyal person to my firm. And I felt that, I had to give them my all, which I did. And I was doing all the work for them. And, 10 years later, I was never a partner. I never had anything. And then when COVID came, it was a rude awakening. And it's like, what do you do now? Like you literally lived your best years there. But God had a bigger plan. My husband was in finance and, so he's always known, this isn't our first venture. We owned a fashion magazine in the early 90s. So, he's always been that entrepreneur, had that vision. So I finally listened and gave in and I'm like, we should have done this many years ago, but it was the right time.
It's the right time. It's always the right time and the right season.
Timing, don't ever underestimate the power of timing.
Wow. Yeah. So what would you say to then a young, woman who wants to be an entrepreneur that is feeling scared, that may not have the Norman, right?
Yeah. Take a leap of faith. Don't give up on yourself. I've always been very resilient and, I've always made a name for myself. I was trying to, be a woman of impact. And so I did that. I made a name for myself, but I always was tied to someone else, right? Someone else's, firm or whatever. Be resilient. Like, don't give up. Don't give up because a lot of people are afraid of change. A lot of people don't take their talent to the next level. And so we have a lot of young, we have a good young team, some of our members, and I tell them there's so much more out there. And, I want you to make sure that you are aligned with your passion and your dreams. You only live once. And there's so many more opportunities right now for the young, young talent. People want those up and comers and, you want to teach them that everything is possible. Don't give up on your dream. Don't think you're going to sell yourself short and give it a shot. Listen, if you don't try it, if you don't risk it, you won't know. I would rather try and fail than never try at all. And that's always been, my thought process, right? Nothing is too challenging for me. I'll take the bull by the horns anytime.
Yeah. No, that's so good. And how is it working in a space? Because I always tell my husband, like, he used to work with us as far as like, well, I would say volunteer with us. And when we would do events with the kids, he would come and help and support. But I was just like, I don't know if we can work together. Like, there's certain things that I want this specific way. He's different, right? We love each other dearly, but I don't know if we could work together, right? So it's interesting to hear that dynamic.
Don't work together. So we have two different offices. He has his and I have mine. And I hear the chuckles in the back. And if you know me, I'm intense, right? So when I'm around, like I'm always on the phone or I'm doing something, he's like, I need to concentrate. And I'm pretty much always, if I'm not doing like my recruiting, I'm doing my networking, right? So I have that 50-50, right? But when I'm in the office, he makes it a point to go to the other office or he'll act like, he can be there for 10 minutes and then he's like, I'm done. You do you, babe. I can't. I'm done.
You're too much high energy for me.
Yeah. And I think I'm too much for everyone at the office, but nobody complains, but I know it.
And this is without the caffeine drinks. I mean, we're on that.
If you know me, you know that you will never see me without a caffeine drink. I drink my coffee every morning. Dunkin' Donuts should sponsor me because American runs on Dunkin'. No, Yesenia runs on Dunkin'. Or
no Starbucks, it's Dunkin'?
No, girl. I'm sorry, Starbucks. No offense, but I'm a Dunkin' girl.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Or café con leche.
Okay.
And those I have a favorite too. You can't just give me any café con leche. It has to be certain places.
And you don't have the team in the office that makes it and they go around at 12 o'clock and do.
No, when we first started, so we started in our living room.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, yesterday we were there and Norman's like, 5 years ago we were here. And look at us now. And so we started on our living room. And early on, we had one of our employees that worked with us that used to do delicious coffee.
Right.
And so at the house at 3:00 every day, he would be with the food
right,
and doing the comida, and and that was like my.
Right.
I don't do it anymore at the office. No, I need to get a Cuban cafetera. You
I'm
know what?
telling you, because
That's it, guys. We're getting a Cuban cafetera. Michelle convinced
they're like,
me.
oh no, yeah.
Thank you.
So that's happening at our office where they're walking around with the coffee and everybody's taking
What
the
time?
shots at like. Javier would have to let me know by probably 12, probably around lunchtime. They're walking.
A true story though, I cannot drink coffee after 3:30. Like there's that cutoff because then it'll be 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I wonder why I'm not tired. 12:30, like
2 o'clock. Yeah. No. That's so cute. So yeah, I guess we'll get into our next part of the segment, which is Social Yak. So if you don't know, this is our amazing tool that we use to bring teams together. We actually use it as an onboarding tool, believe it or not. So that could be something that we could talk about, because this is a great way for team members to acclimate into their teams.
I think it's very important to have a team that gets along. I think it sets the tone.
Yeah.
And I think that would be great. I have clients that give PIs, but if they can certainly give some kind of, a team test to make sure you're a team player, that you're approachable, you're friendly, you're not rude, you're somebody that your team will get along with. I think that's very important to the culture of a company.
Yeah. And sometimes too, it's even deeper, because we work with each other for so many hours and we don't know the real things that are happening in our lives, right?
Sure.
We don't really know that person. We just see them. We ask them to do something. We're executing different things around the office, but we don't really know. And I think the strongest teams are the ones that are really connected in a very meaningful way. How's your daughter? If she was sick, how she's doing? You have that boss that will call and check in, make sure everything's okay, giving you that time and space to do what you need to do. It speaks volumes and it creates loyalty within the organization too, right? Because that CEO or that leader knows that they can trust their team, and they're all doing that together. So I think that's what's nice about it. So we'll start with our first section of the game, which is called Breaking the Ice.
I'm very competitive.
Polar bear level. So this is not a competitive game, Yesenia.
I gotta make sure I get the answers right.
This is a sharing and vulnerable game.
I just have to make sure I get the answers right.
There's no.
So never play Monopoly with me, throwing that one out there.
So I'm gonna have you and my son play Monopoly, because I told him, like, I don't want to play with you.
I'll play with him.
He's 14, and I'm just like, I can't.
I'm not gonna tell you I'll beat him, but
I'm sure he's gonna be up for that challenge. Woo! Yes. He's crazy about it. So start with the blue. Yep, the blue level, polar bear level.
So I pick one
at a time. Yep.
Oh, I'm doing both. Okay. Oh, great.
Are you gonna read it out loud?
Am I?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is, what's your go-to guilty pleasure? I know that this is not what I should be saying, but Mexican food. Mexican food. You give me Mexican food and I am the happiest individual in the world. Not even the margaritas, the chips, the salsa, the fajitas, the dip.
Oh, right.
Both my pregnancies, all I did was eat Mexican food.
Really?
Yes. And probably after my pregnancies and before.
Soda. Yeah,
yes.
Sodas, yeah.
So that's my guilty pleasure.
That's so cute. Okay, now I know.
And shopping. But I think I'd take probably all right.
Probably both equally. Yeah, both equally.
They were equal. Yeah.
I can see the shopping part.
I went straight for like the food, but I failed to mention the shopping. Yeah.
And Norma's watching like, yes.
Yeah, those bags that come in, I'm like, I ordered that 3 months ago. Look at where it is now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. What did you want to be when you were younger? Okay, this is fun. I wanted to be an FBI agent. I love finding clues and investigating. I'm an investigator. Like, I will find out when nobody thinks I'm going to find out, which, it actually works out great with what I do, because in identifying talent, you have to find those deep skill sets. And so I wanted to be an FBI agent.
You should write a book on that.
Or a U.S. Marshal.
Oh, wow.
My grandfather was a U.S. Marshal.
Really?
Yes, he was.
That's so cool.
He was, yeah.
That's so cool. So it was in your DNA all this time.
Yep.
You're just using it for staffing and finding out. I mean, you got to find out too if these people have like good credit.
Yes.
Right. All that stuff.
Credit,
I think that's
if they
what
have a background. Yeah.
For, right.
Good credit, background, to the references. Check their tenure when they come and they have like these like 17 jobs, and every excuse is like such a good excuse for like, yeah, let's check, what happened.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Huge Law and Order buff. So
what?
yes.
Okay. That's cool. All right.
All right.
So we're going to go deeper now. This is the yak level. So let's get more social with our audience here.
What's the most meaningful relationship you have? Hands down, my family. I love my daughters, my husband, my mom, my uncle, dogs, huge dog lover. We had 2 dogs. Unfortunately, they've gone over the Rainbow Bridge, but I truly believe that the core of my life and what completes me is my family.
How often do you guys get together and like have little
our daughters still live at home. And so we make it a point to try to sit and have dinner together a couple times a week. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. But we feel complete with our girls. And then when they're not home, Norman's like, where are my daughters? And I'm like, why are you asking me? Like, I'm the, good cop, bad cop. I'm the one that has to find out where they're at. But we love to be with our girls. Like, we feel that the bond that we have is very special. We do games together. So we're huge Miami Dolphins fans. Go Fins, fins up. We like baseball. We like football. We're doing a lot of Inter Miami now. So just spending time with them is really, and that's what makes me happy.
And that's what they need at this age too, right? I'm sure. Yeah. So good.
Name an interaction with a stranger you still recall. With a stranger you still recall. Oh, I have 2 actually. I have the first one is, my God, 15 years ago, I was going to a Luis Miguel concert at American Airlines Arena. My friend Vivian was there with me. And one of our friends could not make it, and I had an extra ticket. And there was a lady that had taken a bus all the way to American Airlines Arena to go to the concert, but she didn't have a ticket. How this lady ended up next to me and how we started talking, so we ended up giving her a ticket, the extra ticket I had. So a lady sat with us, and we had nice seats. They had been given to me by one of my clients. Wow. So when we get there, Luis Miguel decided he was not going to sing any of his old music or ballads, which was what me and my friend Vivian knew. But instead, everything new. Well, this lady knew every song. So it was the best time of her life. And I feel that was such a good memory. Because just to give back, what was I going to do with the ticket? I was going to throw it away. And I wasn't about to sit there and sell that ticket and give it to a cop and then get arrested. I would have probably gone a different way. So,
that's good. Oh, gosh, that's good. That's a good story. I love it.
Thank you.
What's your second story? I'd love to hear.
So my second story was last week. I was heading to Publix, and out of nowhere, typical Miami weather, it started pouring, and I see a lady walking and getting drenched, older lady. First of all, looked, make sure she didn't have too many bags and she wasn't packing. And I probably did something you should not do. Don't do what I did.
Don't pick up strangers.
Correct. So I pulled over to the side and I asked if she wanted a ride. And in Spanish, she says, oh my God, please, thank you. Drenched. I led her into the back seat, came in with her purse, and I go to her the first thing when she gets in the car. Don't ever do that. Don't ever get in the car with a stranger. And the lady was like, okay. And I said, where do you live? And she lives, I live, down, go 20 blocks down. And she said that she had taken an Uber to go to a Cuba Max to send food and clothes to her family.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God. So I drop her off and I'm like, listen, do you send clothes to Cuba often? And she goes, yes. And then she goes, and I also clean houses. So if you know anybody. So I found a great Cuban cleaning lady if anybody's looking. And if you have any clothes that you want to donate, that you want to send out, let me know. I got her number.
That's so sweet.
But don't let anybody in your car. That is very dangerous.
Like, and how would they know? She just didn't look dangerous.
That's no, she didn't. I checked out. I looked how many bags she had.
You did the investigate. You did the FBI pre-screen. That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
This is fun.
Now we're going to dig deeper.
Okay.
Go for it. Anyone.
What would you title the autobiography in your life? She was fierce.
Like Sasha Fierce? Like yes. Beyonce Fierce?
Like she was, oh my God. Yes. Beyonce, let's go. She was fierce. She was determined. And she never gave up. If I set my mind to something, I am super laser focused and I attack. And sometimes I don't have a game plan and sometimes I wing it, but I can tell you I will make it happen.
Wow. And where does that come from?
I think it's from my mom, my grandmother, my grandmother, God, she was the most determined woman I've ever known. Came, as an immigrant to this country.
Wow.
She had to send my dad alone. She came after, and my grandmother owned a beauty salon in the 80s, on Coral Gables, Ponce de Leon. And she was the most elegant, hardworking woman you will ever meet, and had morals that, second to none. My grandmother taught me so many good things. And, it's that strength that I always saw. My mom's always been a very hard worker. You see that. You don't slack.
Yeah.
You don't, give minimum. Minimum gives minimum results. And I always go above and beyond, no matter where I've worked or who I've worked for. I've always been the same.
That's so good. To switch gears a little bit, do you see that in the labor market now where people...
I do. I think that there's a lot of, those days of working and getting the job done no matter what time it takes, or going above and beyond, they're gone,
Wow. Isn't that something?
It is. It is.
Because I feel the same way. I'm so edgy about getting it done, making sure it's high quality, fixing it if it's not working, switching gears. And I just, sometimes I'm baffled by that
8 to 5 mentality.
Or just not thinking things through all the way to make sure it's like executed.
Correct. Give it your all. Do a little bit more, but make sure that you give it 100%.
Yeah. But sometimes I think too, maybe giving it their all is coming from a place where they don't have that experience that we have, right? They haven't seen.
But you learn from what you see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? So if they don't see it, we're looking at like, this is your all? Really? I'm confused.
Maybe we're missing something. Like, do you have a couple more things that you haven't finished and you want to share with me?
All right. But now that I think about it, I think it's that reflection of, we know where we've come from and what's been built.
Correct.
And the honor that we even want to give to our legacy. Right.
Correct.
And I think for some, because it's not necessarily there.
Right.
For whatever reason.
No hunger, no ambition.
Yeah. It's
some
tough.
people are complacent, some people just want to go do what they need to do.
Yeah.
There's no goals,
and
no future.
They're okay with it. Yeah. It's interesting to see how that's changed.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay. What's something you would change about yourself and something you wouldn't? I would say that I am very giving. And I don't really want to change that, but I wish I was a better judge of character, right? I give my heart. I welcome people very easily. I believe in people very easily. And it's not always a good thing. There's a lot of bad in the world, a lot of people who take you for granted and don't really appreciate what you do for them. And so I wish that I could change that, but I've been like that since I was a child.
Yeah.
Something that at this age, you become wiser and stronger.
Right.
And so I give that, I tell it to people, trust your judgment, trust your gut. Your gut never lies. You want it to, you want to be wrong, but it's pretty much always
going to be face value for what it is. Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh, this is great. I'm killing it.
You are killing it, my friend. People are getting to know you very, very well here. This is the last part of the game. I want you to read it, and then I'm going to say something about you. I'm going to answer it.
Based on what you have heard me share, what would you say I should be most proud of? Oh, you answered this one?
I would say, this was what made like less pressure. No, I would say that you should just be proud of the fact that you're here. You're here and you're doing your thing and you're doing what you've been gifted to do. And that's taking care of people, giving back, putting people where they fit best. I think those are beautiful talents that not everyone has.
Thank you, Beth.
I think the way in which I'm going to tell you, running a business is probably one of the hardest things besides having a child, right?
Yeah.
Right? Is one of the hardest things someone can do. I think for you to come out of that space of fear to the woman that I see sitting next to me today is absolutely incredible and amazing. And I think if people would only know, like, I'm sure the stories that you haven't told on what you went through in those 5 years, to get to where you are now. I'm sure it could be a book, right? So I am just honored to just call you bestie.
Thank you, my
and
friend.
just more importantly, just a community builder with me and what it is that we're trying to do in South Florida. So kudos to you.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate your kind words. I truly believe that we're only as good as the people around us. And I've been lucky to surround myself with such powerful women, men, leaders in our community, and it makes us stronger. Every connection is a step towards a difference, making a difference, and giving back to our community, because that's what we need to do.
For sure, for sure. So I'm glad you came in my show.
Thank you for having
she
me.
could be anywhere, guys, because she is the LinkedIn queen, I promise you. So the fact that you said yes to me, I appreciate it, because I know you're super busy. She even told me, like, I gotta go somewhere after this. I'm like, I know, I'm sure you do.
But before I leave, since you gave me that plug on LinkedIn, everybody who follows me on LinkedIn knows that I am huge on selfies. So I think that it would be a great opportunity to bring to your show a selfie. You ready? All right,
let's do it. Let's do it. How are we gonna?
We're gonna stand.
Okay, wait, but we're gonna be cut off, so we're gonna have to bend a little bit.
That's okay. We can bend.
Live.
Follow us on LinkedIn.
Right.
Be Strong International.
I know, right?
New Edge Associates, and please get your social yachts. Entertain with your team.
You should work for us part-time to help us sell our products.
Entertain with your team. For all of those that are watching, let me know. We sell in bulk. Thank you.
Funny, so funny. Any last words about New Edge Associate, how they can get in contact with you?
If you want to reach us, reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Yesenia Moreno, managing partner, New Edge Associates. We are your top talent search firm. We focus on executive recruiting, banking, accounting, finance, and any executive search. It's a pleasure to be here with Be Strong today, my dear friend Michelle. Don't miss their back to school fundraiser, and if you're looking to sponsor, it's a great event. Let's give back to those kids in need and those families.
I love it. So we'll end it here. She did her best work by ending the show for me. So love you guys and see you guys soon.
I overspoke.